ladies and gentlemen, the hour has arrived. I call this meeting to order. Mr. Johnson, I'm going to ask you please to give the invocation.
Father, again, we do thank you for allowing us to come into our city business. We actually look down and give us wisdom and knowledge that we may make the right decision to help our people today. We ask you that this decision be for the upbuilding of this city. We ask you to bless those that are sick and shed in, those that are bereaved. We ask you to bless our soldiers that's on the battlefield. In your name I do pray. Amen.
Amen. All right, let's stand and pledge allegiance to the flag of our country. I
Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Gentlemen, I'm going to be the first one to ask you to allow us to do a little modification. We want before number one for our auditors here, and we knew that he was coming, and somehow or other we got busy and failed to put it there, so I want to ask for that amendment. I entertain a motion that we approve an amendment of the beginning topic for our auditor.
So,
Mr. Johnson made the motion. There a second? Second and third and then fourth, all together. Any further discussion about the modification?
Yes, sir. I'd like to take and modify the agenda and make it 5A.
Okay.
Speak about the Beasley Water Project.
Okay. All right. 5A. That's the second modification. We'll have them both at one time. Easily. All right. Are there other suggestions for any type of amendment to the agenda? Hearing none. Mr. Griffin, you made a motion. Is there a second to his motion there?
Second.
We're going to handle both of these motions at one time, gentlemen. We're going to make a alt and a 5A. Any further discussion about it? Hearing none, call for the vote. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Hearing none. The amendment passed. All in favor of the adopting the amended agenda say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Hearing none, the work's cut out for us. Okay, Mr. Mark Rutgers. Ladies and gentlemen, those of you who may not know, this is our auditor down with Henderson and Godby. They completed our audit a few weeks, a month or so ago. He's here to tell us what a fine organization we run and how we keep good books.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor.
And if it's anything other than that, then you go back to that.
Yes, sir.
No, you give us the facts. All right.
All right, I'm here to present your June 30th, 2018 financial report. The report is actually 54 pages long. We're not going to go through all that. I did put a 5-page summary in your packet. First 2 pages are the letter, and then the third page, if you'll flip over to the third page, this is the general fund for this year, for 2018. Total revenue was $3,360,000. The budget was $3,335,000. The previous year revenue was $3,386,000. So you can see your revenue fell right in line with your budget and with your actuals for 2017. The expenditures totaled $4,010,000 for the year. Your budget was $3,238,000, and the previous year was $3,619,000. So you had a decrease in fund balance for the year of $220,000 compared to the previous year. You had an increase in fund balance of $10,000. Your fund balance at the end of 2018 was $133,000, and the previous year was $395,000. Any questions on the general fund?
Well, when you were going through it and everything else, what stuck out to you more than anything else as to the difference in the fund balances at the end and the actual increase in fund balance or decrease in fund balance and everything.
The airport was over what we had budgeted and over what the previous year was. And then the debt service was above what was budgeted for the year. So those two big things kind of jumped out at me. Any other questions? Okay. Look over to the next page. This is all of your capital projects funds. You've got 14 different funds that make up capital projects funds. For the year, your total revenues were $2,464,000. Your expenditures were $3,552,000. So your expenses in excess of your revenues was $1,088,000 for the year. The majority of your activity came into the airport improvement fund. That's that first fund there. The revenues were $2,022,000, and expenditures were $2,858,000. So your expenses in excess of your revenues was $835,000 for that fund. That is a grant, and so what you do is you spend the money and then you get the grant money in. So that's not an indication of that fund losing money, it's just a timing thing on that.
Okay, you got all those accounts listed there, gentlemen, 2 rows on them. Any other questions?
This goes to the state now, and that has already been sent in, right?
Sir?
I mean, it goes into the state,
The audit,
Oh, it's already been
Yes,
filed,
sir.
yes.
and we're okay with that.
That's right.
That's my concern.
That's a good concern, too.
In fact, I can tell you, this $500,000 I just got last night, we wouldn't have got it if it, I know it hadn't been up there.
Yeah.
All right, go ahead.
All right, so let's flip over to the next page. The next page is the enterprise funds. You got 2 enterprise funds, the water sewer fund and the golf course fund. So the water sewer fund, your total operating revenues were $1,605,000. Your operating expenses were $1,727,000. So your net loss in the water sewer this past year was $214,000. Your net position in the water sewer fund is $3,230,000.
That's a new wrinkle, Mark, for us. All through the years, usually the financial position of water and sewer hasn't had this type of situation. I'm going to ask the question that Mr. Griffin asked you a minute ago, and I haven't gone through, had a chance to go through it totally. I've looked at it a pretty good bit. Do you know right offhand where most of that loss was?
I'm not sure where that loss was. No, sir.
I haven't figured it out yet either. I have to go by and look at it. But that's, I would say this so that you maybe help in the future, that that is unusual for the water and sewer fund to be in that position. And I haven't quite figured that out yet either. Okay.
Okay. So that's my presentation for tonight. Just wanted to tell everybody thank you for the opportunity to provide the audit service this past year. We certainly appreciate all the personnel in the city helping us out. So certainly appreciate that.
We appreciate you.
Appreciate you, and I reckon you're ready to have us one done by the end of the year now, right?
I'm not sure about that. All right.
Mark, if you would, get with me right away, and give us a sort of an estimate. You did good with this one as far as we're concerned. Give me an estimate what you think our day, since you've got all the information now, you ought to be about half price next week.
That price,
So I'm gonna expect a remark back from you to be back, but I would like for you to get with me as soon as possible and then move on to the next.
all right, thank you
But
very
I'd
much.
like you to get with me so that I can let these fellows, if we run short, these men just chip in out of their
Oh, that's
pocket.
very nice
Take care
of
of
you.
everything.
Very nice of you. Thank you.
All right.
Thank you.
Okay. Yeah, thank you. And you head the battle officer?
Yes, sir.
All right, hurry back.
Be safe.
Okay, folks, we will now proceed with item number 1. Discuss the zoning recommendation on 137 East Jefferson. Mr. Charles, you want to give us a report what the zoning board did? Come up here at this place right here and speak, please.
Okay, the zoning board met and approved the application that Olin Wood put in on the property that he owns to put some mobile homes. It's basically commercial, C3, and under their change of the zoning law, you could utilize part of it for residential. What it is if you know the property, he's been doing some renovations on the old Carter houses that's down there, rental property, and he's got 2 lots that are vacant that he wants to put a mobile home on, a brand new mobile home. And the zoning board met with him, went over the rules and regulations and his request, and recommended you guys to approve it.
Well, you might want to explain to us, since it's already within the zoning regulations as they exist, it's not a modification of the zoning then.
Well, it's an interpretation of mobile homes versus housing.
Are we gonna have to post it? We care to sign?
No, everything's fine, basically, with the current zoning that we have. It's not a rezoning. At first, we thought it had to be a rezoning.
That's what I
But
thought.
Mr. Goose came and looked at it, and I think got with Mr. Ken, and basically, it's just a modification and clarity of the existing zoning laws.
You said it was a change in the zoning laws. When did that take place and what was the change?
I don't have that in front of me, but remember when we had the zoning meeting about changing
Right.
the stuff about the Baptist church, the houses and stuff like that, where they could be either an office or a residence? That's when we did it. It's been about, how long
The one
ago?
I have from Mr. Goode is 1998.
No, that's the original. That's,
Okay.
yeah, for that.
That would have been probably in March or
March.
April of
Last-
this, no, it would have
this year.
been this year.
But now that was for downtown at that.
Yeah.
That was for
Did that
that.
cover this too?
But that covered C3 zoning.
Okay.
We modified C3 zoning through the whole town.
I thought we just did it for the downtown area. I didn't know.
No,
we did
it was for
I
C3
didn't
zoning.
either. Is that to say then that you could put mobile homes downtown?
If it's C3 and you come before the zoning board and request it, and they approve it, recommend it to you guys, and y'all approve it.
Well,
I see a challenge with that.
I do too. I mean,
I think it needs to be studied a little bit more.
that's my opinion also. I don't know how everybody else feels, council. I mean, we're talking about this and whatever else now. I mean, I don't,
Well, and the one thing that concerns me too is what we discussed at the economic development retreat. Bringing these matters up, changing the image of your community.
right. That's a very good point there. Because, I mean, we're talking about a road coming into town and whatever else and stuff. I mean, is this really what we want to do is take and have mobile homes sitting on the edge of our city where we come in and everything? I'm not, look, I'm all for putting affordable housing for people and stuff like that. But we need to think about what, like Mr. Butler said, what we're trying to take and work with as far as, building the community up so we have a good presence when people come into town and everything else, and not just joke and put a mobile home here if he wants to because it's on C3. I think we open a can of worms. I think we need to do some more study on it, whatever else. I don't know how the rest of the council feels.
But came before was just for downtown. I didn't know we were dealing with, I wasn't saying that you're dealing with the whole city, because you definitely, this come up once in the past, and there's such a difference between mobile homes and marginal homes. And marginal homes brought about a wholly different thing, because this is more like a foundational home. It's built, they're built different than mobile homes.
Well, what I thought they were trying to do is if, like across from the Baptist church, you've got a house, an office, and a house. What I thought we were trying to do is if it's an existing house there, you can either use that for commercial or residential. That was what I thought they were approving. But according to Mr. Goods, that's not what they approved. I guess Mr. Goods needs to be here to,
I talked to Mr. Good,
Okay.
he said he wanted to be here, but he had some
Yeah.
issue with his eye.
okay.
He
I think we
did
should
show
table
me,
it.
yeah,
Yeah, I mean, I went to the meeting, we went to the meeting, and basically,
But for me to recall minutes,
right.
carrying it on for 3 different
Right.
ones, I will have to go back and look at our minutes for the zoning that day.
But you understand-
And for the meeting.
Right,
I mean-
okay, think of the Baptist church, the county offices and stuff that's there, they're houses and they're offices. So, I mean, in my mind, what we were trying to do, just like these houses across the road here from the south side, if you wanted to put an office there, that's fine. If you wanted to spend some money and put a rental property there, that's fine, because the house is already sitting there. I don't, in my interpretation, we never thought about bringing in mobile homes.
Right.
But I mean, I'm not the zoning board, I'm just a building inspector.
I asked Mr. Goods what he thought about tabling the issue and discussing it further, and he thought, he said we could do that. So,
I do know at the meeting that night, Commissioner Bloodworth, he reiterated to the property owner and the persons that was with him, that it would be up to the full council as to how this would go, and that they could not take what was said in the zoning meeting that night as to be, that's it.
Right.
It had to come before the council, and when they walked out the door, they did understand that.
Well, see, what I thought, and I'm just getting the report back up here, just like y'all are, but we carried the zoning change sign out there, and I was out there and dug the hole in the post hole diggers to put up a sign
To change the
to
zoning.
change the zoning.
Right.
And then I got the report back from the zoning board that that was not necessary. They took the sign down and said it's, because of the modification in C3, that as far as we didn't have to change the zoning ordinance, we had to, just as a council, authorize, I don't know, whatever deviation that they allowed. See, just like you, I hope that they brought up cottages building apartments down on left,
See, now that, we changed that in downtown from, you can, in the original ordinance, it said you have to be a second story. We voted, they brought it before y'all, we said, no, it can be on the first floor. That was, at the same time we did the C3, or they did the C3.
Okay, is that when they said they did this out here at, in this area across from the canal station? Was that supposedly was that changed at that same time?
Yeah.
Well, like I say, I think we're all a little bit confused, but you think we are clear because we've let the man spend a lot of money on Latimer Street now, you think?
Oh, no, we're fine with that.
Okay.
Yes, yes.
But now, like Mr. Grimm said a minute ago, though, if there was a vacant lot down there, that's what if there was a vacant open lot somewhere and a fellow wanted to put a mobile home in down there, surely we haven't authorized that.
The way it sounds.
Well, I mean,
Mhm.
I'd like to make a motion.
well, what we got to do is, like I said, when we came to y'all the first time, the zoning board, and I was with the zoning board, we were taking existing properties, and you could either make an office out of it or a house out of it if it was existing. That's the way I interpreted that, what we were doing. In other words, the houses next to the Baptist church, you've got,
But to me, that's existing.
existing, right?
And this is all new things that somebody's gonna be bringing in.
Right.
And in my past, we've run into some big things with people bringing in different types of homes to live in. and putting them in certain areas by certain houses because you will along. I really do think we need to table it and let us really
All right,
sit down.
I believe Mr. Bloodworth made that motion, haven't you?
Correct.
Mr. Bloodworth has made that motion that we table this and get studied a little bit more. Is there a second? Second by Mr. Ramey. All right, any further discussion? Another thing too is I understand that in the property owner, are these double wide or single wide units?
Well, it depends on if it's, you know, R1A, R1B, or R3, you know, your square footage is based on what it's
Oh, it's
on.
based on the number of square feet, not whether
Yes,
it's a double wide or single wide?
That's right.
Well, that's a lot, that's even more reason why we need to check and make sure our zoning board and all of us understand what's going on.
Right.
Okay, we got a motion on the floor. Any further discussion about it? Hearing none, I call for the vote. The motion is that we table it for further study. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Hearing no opposition to tabling, we will put it on the back burner and study it a little bit. Okay, let's move on. Number 2 is that we've had 2 vacancies out on our airport authority. And Cody and the remaining people have got together and discussed it, and they've recommended 2 good aviators. One is John Scruggs, and Mr. Scruggs is a good pilot and flies and lives in the area. And Mr. Hugh Brantley's got a hangar rented out there and owns an airplane, and he's also a pilot. And we've been very lucky that every member of our airport authority have been professional pilots and a lot of flight knowledge and so forth. And they've made a recommendation. We talked about this Monday night at our work session. So I entertain a motion that we approve the appointment to the airport authority of Mr. John Scruggs and Mr. Hugh Brantley.
So moved.
All right, Mr. Ramey has made the motion that we accept the recommended nominations.
Second.
Seconded by who? Bloodworth. All right. Any further discussion about these 2 appointments? Hearing none, call for the vote. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Hearing none, the 2 gentlemen are appointed. Mr. Cody, you can notify them that they're on your board. Okay, number 3 is the airport runway crack seal overlay marking and resurfacing. We've been real lucky to get $3 million to extend the runway, $3 million to build the taxiway, and now we've got $1,700,000 to do this work, completely crack and seal, and also build an additional exit lane on the airport out there. The $1,700,000 is approved, but it's going to cost us about $90,000. You just heard the auditor say that the thing that's responsible for some of our financial circumstances is the airport. But another thing he told you is that it's the end of the year and what's going on. I think you're going to find it's going to wash out because we're using SPLOST money. We've committed our SPLOST, we've committed $300,000 of our SPLOST money to that job, and I think it's going to wash out eventually when you get the whole thing put together. But at any rate, we've got $200,000 left of SPLOST money coming in for the airport. All right, if I'm asking you to do this, and I am asking you to do it, we're going to spend another $100,000 of the airport SPLOST money, and all that will be left in Cody's airport SPLOST fund for other operational expenses and whatnot will be, it's not operational expenses, but for other capital expenditures that you can use SPLOST for, will be $100,000, and he's going to have to really live on a tight budget. But that's what I'm recommending, that we approve the expenditure of about approximately $90,000, so that we can get everything ready for this $1,700,000 improvement in our airport. Is that pretty much it, Cody?
Yes.
All right.
I'll make a motion.
Mr. Bloodworth made a motion that we approve the contract to get this done. It's going to be about $90,000. Is there a second?
Second.
Second by Mr. Johnson. Any further discussion?
And just
This
so
me-
everybody knows and everything too now, there won't be, this will be happening, we'll have the $90,000 come out of SPLOST, but there's nothing gonna be coming out of it until the completion of the project and everything, so everybody's not,
No, that's not the case now.
well, like I said, with the actual match and everything else, until they take and get to a point where we get the actual money here for the other.
Well, that's not exactly the case now. Some of this is gonna have to be upfront, and we're gonna have to make some provisions to handle. It will come out of SPOS.
Right.
It's coming out of SPOS, you're correct by that, but now we're gonna have to do a little juggling to make it happen.
Well, that's gonna be rough on that one there, especially with the other recovery. I mean, it's gonna be really rough there because of the 300,000 we got to cover off this first one here. I mean, I don't know how we're gonna.
Well, we've got that, we're already handling that, we are ahead of the game on the taxiway. And I can tell you this, that our line of credit is fixed, we fixed to put another $300,000 on our line of credit. We've got a $500,000 line of credit, and it'll be here shortly, before this is needed to be spent. The line of credit will be down to, we only have over 100,000 on it. We've paid from 500 down to 100,000. And we can go into the line of credit until this money becomes available.
Well, if we can do that, as long as we take and earmark it specifically from SPOS, give it back to.
Well, we got
So you're gonna be able to be brought back in there by a splash fund, can it be replaced by that?
Absolutely.
Or just earmark,
Yes. That's what we're doing now, but here again, Cody, and you tell, and everybody, we've, the airport had $500,000 in SPOS money. We've already spent 3, and there's 2 left. Now we're spending 100, and there's 100 left down there. We better not get crazy about our spending now. And, but of course, we can put it back when the SPOS comes in. Okay, gentlemen, have I got you thoroughly confused? Well, you're gonna get another $1,700,000, you gotta come up with $90,000, and this is the way we're doing it.
So it's gotta be done. I mean, we can't,
Well-
you can't take it, it's gonna get to the point where you can't put an airplane in there if we don't. That's the
Well,
bottom line.
and we can't refuse federal and state money for $1,700,000. We're gonna have to come up with the $90,000, so we've already got it figured out, so I'm asking you to approve it. Any more discussion about it? Hearing none, all in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? I didn't hear a thing, so it's approved. Bernice, we'll have to get busy and try to get that worked out according to what we've told the council will do.
Where's the 1.7 coming from?
Pardon? Federal and state money.
Specific?
It'd be GDOT, airport.
Well, not all of it. The state portion will, the other's federal aviation inside. I don't know what
Cody, what's that name from the federal?
FAA and GDOT?
that's right, it's coming from the GDOT Aviation and the FAA is what's coming
That's
from.
correct.
Yeah. You got it, Ms. Mary Ann? Okay, thank you, gentlemen. I hate to, I wish we had the cash money right in the bank and not having to shuffle around a little bit, but we'll have to wiggle to get this together. Thank you for realizing it's got to be done. All right, I can see it. Okay, let's move on. Okay, this is the street light at the Board of Education roundabout, Bloodworth. Mr. Bloodworth, you want to take over on number 4?
Carl, can you? Yeah. Carl printed these signs out, and he's got the, figures on them, and did you talk to, Georgia Power?
I did, I talked to Mr. Eric about putting a light like they got at the other roundabout that's already put up. It's a LED floodlight. He's actually gonna check into it and let me know Monday.
Who are you talking with?
Eric with Georgia Power, putting the floodlight they did down
Wait a
there.
minute, that's REA out there, isn't it?
No, not at the first roundabout, the Board of Education, Georgia Power.
Oh, okay.
And
Oh,
the
you
REA put the one at the, or put the LED floodlight at the big roundabout down there on that pole they moved.
Well, that's the darkest one.
No, the one at the Board of Education is the darkest.
I drive under pretty regular. Okay, whatever you say.
But he's gonna check into it and see if they can put one in there. Their big issue is the way it's set up, the way the poles is angled, is blinding the oncoming traffic. So they got to look at it and see what they can do on it.
And then the signs, how many signs do we need to mark that?
8 on the roundabout ahead, you're gonna need 8 of them.
Okay.
You got a price on it too?
Yeah, you're looking at $660 for 8 of them. And that's the high bid sign. The other roundabout signs are there. These will actually be about 500 feet from them. in all the other
You're
directions.
gonna leave those that's already
Yes,
there,
yes.
just back up, put two additional ones.
That's
I
right,
mean, additional one at each entrance.
that's right.
That's a good idea. And then you're going to try to put some additional light at the, up here at Board of Education.
Yes.
That's on Charles Rogers.
Yes,
Charles Rogers, yeah.
yes.
Okay, and are you suggesting, or are y'all ready to, for a motion that we expend $1,700 to
No,
get?
this is 660, just for these signs. And for the roundabout.
Okay, you're talking about the other? Okay,
Yes,
all right.
yeah,
For the roundabout signs, or how much?
$660.
I entertain a motion that we purchase the signs.
So moved.
Mr. Johnson made a motion that we purchase the additional 8 roundabout signs.
Second.
Second by Mr. Ramey. Any further discussion?
You say these signs are illuminated, I mean.
Yes, yes, high beams, yes.
Any further discussion? Hearing none, call for the vote. All in favor say aye. Aye. Any opposed? Being no opposition, the motion is carried. Okay, why don't you stay up there, Carl, and just handle item number 5, the 4-way stop at Eldon and Rogers Street. Mr. Bloodworth, can you?
Yes, sir, he's got a price on the speed bumps there at the intersection there at Elton and Rogers. But I'm thinking we've got a more pressing issue with Charles Rogers and Lakeside. And it'll cut that cost
What's in half?
from $688 to $344.
Well, it'd cut it down, the total cost was $1,170. It'd cut it in half, because you need 8 speed bumps. If you only do one intersection, you only gonna need 4.
We need, well, that's just a 2, it'd be a 2-way
Right,
there.
right.
So I'd like to address that one first and maybe just table that other one.
Oh, now, you clarify yourself now.
Address the intersection at Charles Rogers and Lakeside Drive with speed bumps and table the Elton Street and Rogers Street.
Okay, now where is Charles Rogers and Lakeside? That's way on over Lakeside Drive.
Right across from the school, go down 2 blocks, and it's right there. You go down Charles Rogers, go straight across Perkins Ferry, 2 blocks, and there's Lakeside.
You're looking at $585 to do that intersection, if y'all want to do it first.
Speed bumps?
Yes, sir.
I hate speed bumps.
Yeah, you got like.
I don't know what else will work with that.
I know, I'm just saying.
But
We've got a serious problem
Yeah.
with speeders.
But this is supposed to be, to help with that Ken was gonna do with the, what happened to that?
Well, he's done it, but.
turn that thing around, turn that screen around right there. And what
Crime,
happened to
police.
that? It was up there a minute ago and I lost it. What did I do?
Carl, what'd you do with it, man?
I ain't,
Well, it was working until you got there.
Y'all do know how noisy those speed bumps
Okay, all right, now listen, now there's Lakeside Drive right there.
Right there.
Carl, help me there. There's Lakeside right there. All right, now where you want to put the speed bump?
Right there at Charles Rogers.
Charles Rogers is right.
Charles,
No,
come
it's
back
on
here.
there.
Right there, come on, keep going right there.
Yeah, right there,
Yeah.
right there,
Yeah, right there. All right, we want to put it right there, all right?
right there, on both ends of Lakeside.
On both sides here.
Yep.
If I lived down there and I had to go across them things to go to my house, I sure wouldn't like it, but I'm gonna leave it to y'all.
Well, I mean, I'm open for suggestions. I mean, I don't know what else will solve the problem.
Well, we have 2 residents in here that live on Lakeside right now. Miss June and Cody back there, both live on Lakeside. And, I mean, they can, Cody, as he told us the other night, he said people fly by his house and everything right down there. And I wish you hadn't said anything about it or whatever. I mean,
Well, right at Rogers, at Lakeside, I've not seen anyone speeding. They generally speed up once they get in the middle. I see them speed.
Let's see, now, I believe you live right here in this house here, is that correct?
Right, I'm between Charles Rogers
right.
and Rogers.
Yeah, you're right here, I believe.
Mhm.
I believe that's your house right
There's a lot
there.
of pedestrian traffic on that street as well.
That's a lot of pedestrian traffic,
Right. Yeah.
but I haven't seen that many speeders. And I'm home all day because I'm retired.
I've had 3 complain.
Well, you've definitely got some folks that cut through back, going through here and coming, I don't know where they're coming back out at over here. But, it's a shame for 4 or 5 law violators and people that care nothing about anything but themselves to cause 50 people to have to go across those things. But at any rate, I'm gonna leave it up to y'all.
What happened, the radar was at the schools, right?
He was gonna check it out, I don't know what happened.
What, I don't want to be the monetary part, but what about officers get out there and stop the speed?
That's what he was saying, there, I mean, when they see the laws, when the law's there, when their presence is there, they're not gonna break the law, they're not gonna speak when they see that. That's what Mr. Bloodworth was saying, and it's a fact.
It's like loud music. Somebody calls with their neighbor playing loud music, but when they see the police turn the music down.
And
then
Chief
when they leave,
Williams,
they try to jack it back up.
Chief Williams did say Monday night in the work session that they have been out there, they have manned it. It's not done any good. I mean, they know that the law's sitting there, they're not gonna break the law. And that's what he stated Monday night.
I mean, it's bad, like the mayor says, when you got a few idiots that make it bad for everybody else. I mean, we don't want anybody hurt, we don't want anybody killed down there or anything, and like I said, I'm about inclined to agree with Mr. Bloodworth that that's the next best option to take in. And is it a 4-way stop at that one, John?
It's a 3-way.
It's a 3-way there, because that's a dead end down there.
Correct.
Look, is there any way that we might could do a little research and study that before we, the expenditure is not that much for the safety value that we would get, but considering the fact that you might be a minority of just a very few people that's causing the problem, if we can identify the cause, we might can cut it out.
True.
I can tell you, if you put the speed bumps there, like I told John the other night, I guarantee you in 6 months you can take them up. Because the ones that was running down through there, they're gonna find them a different route.
Good turn.
Yeah.
Well, but then you're gonna shove them up to Elton, and they're just gonna dodge it and go down to Elton.
I mean,
And then
I'm saying don't put them at the other location, because that's.
No, I'm talking about, they're gonna come down Charles Rogers and turn right on Elton, and then go down that way to Dodge Lakeside.
Elton will become a speedway.
That's right, that'll be the speeding route then. I mean, it's,
All right, let's make a decision, let's decide what we're gonna do.
How much trouble is it to be able to remove and to reinstall them in different places?
Well, they actually sell portable speed bumps
Yeah.
that you can put down and move them where you want them. That's probably about $100 cheaper than stationary.
Well, I personally, from what I'm hearing, because I know what they do when they come down Miller Street, we had to cut down some trees because they run into them. I know what they do. But anyway, but seriously speaking, to move them and they done got used to it, I think you're gonna get somebody hurt because they're gonna forget they're there and they're gonna go down and you're gonna wreck. I'm not a big proponent of sticking the police on nobody, but I think we're getting enough state patrols and the law that you saturate that area and go ahead and do what they're supposed to do. Eventually, you're gonna get somebody, and you're gonna just have to make an example. Sorry, y'all, I'm always against sticking the police on them, but that's what you're gonna have to do to keep from killing somebody. Because if you go to removing these things about, trust me, somebody gonna forget they're there and they're gonna
Yeah.
And I know what happened on Miller. They turn over and hit the telegram pole and knock down the tree. Seriously, and it's just a mercy of God that they didn't kill somebody.
Well, we're back up front.
Okay, Mr. Bloodworth says we back up the punt, makes a motion, we back up the punt. Would you further clarify that, Mr. Bloodworth?
Yeah, we'll table it.
Mr. Bloodworth made the motion, we back up the punt, or in other words, table. Is there a second?
Second.
Second by Mr. Ramey. Any further discussion? Hearing none, I call for the vote. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? No opposition? The motion carried. We'll look at it a little longer. All right, let's see, now we're, I believe, Mr. Griffin, we're at 5A now, I believe.
Okay.
You want to discuss, huh?
Yeah, that's it.
Okay, all right,
Your project.
Proceed.
Okay, I know the grant was approved and whatever and all this good stuff. And noticed out at the treatment plant, we're starting to get pipe put in out there, laid over there at the side and everything, 12-inch pipe, whatever else. Now, where's this pipe coming from?
I have no idea whether the fellow got the bid, is putting it in
Nobody's
Who's authorized to bid?
who's authorized to bid.
there. The engineer called and notified me that, that they would meet for pre-construction here sometime next week.
Who's authorized the,
Well, he's doing it at his expense. If y'all fail to approve it, I reckon he said that the lead time is such that he's still got a long wait, that he's waiting on pipe to come in order to get the job done. So, Turnip Seed told me that he could go into order if he wanted to. He was a low bidder, and that's who that,
We discussed that at a prior meeting, that we might not want to have a low bidder in this particular case. The low bidder has a reputation that he has many add-ons after they get back with it. Anybody can get a bid that would be low and continue to add something onto it later and cost us too much.
I thought we had already approved it.
no, sir, we did not, because at the meeting I took and brought it up, and you said this had nothing to do with it. We hadn't even voted to take and accept the bid yet, and so I let it go.
No bids have been accepted at all, no bids have been discussed.
I thought it was all contingent upon the grant and the commissioners, was all that we lacked. Grant commissioners and
No, and that was the same question I asked, and you told me, no, nobody's approved anything yet. This is just contingent. Getting the money and everything else would be the
Well, that's what everybody
project.
assumed, that as soon as the grant was approved and the commissioners made their move, that the contract was ready to go. And so Turnip Seed and I agreed that if the man wanted to begin to order his pipe to proceed.
It needs to be halted. It needs to be approved by the council. That's inappropriate.
Okay, entertain a motion that we approve it then.
What are we approving?
The low bid to do this job.
Who was the bidder?
George Asphalt, Joey Howard.
I'll make a motion.
Mr. Bloodworth made the motion that we approve the bid. Is there a second?
I'll second.
Mr. Johnson has made the second. Any further discussion?
I can't see that I could approve it after we've already done something. This is after the fact. I cannot vote in favor of that.
Well, I thought we had done all that. That was my understanding. It was contingent upon those two things, and we've got a motion on the floor and a second that we approve the low bidder of George Asphalt, Joey Hires. Any further discussion?
I thought that everything was ready once the grant came in, y'all. Seriously, that's what I understood.
That's what I thought.
That's the question I asked the night that they took and said it, and he said, no, nothing's been approved. The mayor sat there and flat out told us nothing's been approved until the council approves it. And that was in the minutes, and I had to go back and listen to it.
Okay, but it's like I say, I mean, it's been repeated 2 or 3 times here. We made the motion that it be approved contingent upon $500,000, and the county commission responded. When I got the notification of that, I talked to Turnips, the engineering firm. They said that they called it, there was a good lead time on the pipe. He said, it's all right with you, it's all ready now, let's go. And so we went with it. We got a motion on the floor and seconded that we approve the contract. Is there any further discussion?
Yes, it was approved that we would do it if all parties paid their part. That was for the project, but that was not for the contractor who was going to be doing it. And we did discuss the fact of the contractors and bids that were there, and the lowest one not being the best.
Yeah, I understand that, that was mentioned, but I thought we already had all that behind us. Okay, I'm calling for the vote. All in favor of the motion that we give Georgia contract the authority, which they've already been buying pipe and to handle the job. All in favor, raise your right hand or left hand.
It needs to be a voice vote. Yes.
Well, in this particular case, I want to show, it will be a voice vote. I want to see it right now. All right, we got 3 in favor, all opposed. 3 in favor, 2 opposed. The motion's carried. And a voice vote, all in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed?
Nay.
The motion carried, 3-2. What else? Okay, this is the alley, between Railroad Street and Henson, that Ms. Rory Cheney and, Ms. not Larry now, she's Ms. Rush, came and asked us for, and we hashed it out Monday night. And, there's a question that, the 2 parties have, we've addressed, and they're looking into it. But as far as the alleyway between the railroad and Henson Street, I entertain the motion that we relinquish our any rights we have to that alley and deed it half and half to the adjoining landowners.
So moved.
Mr. Raymond made the motion and seconded by
Bloodworth.
Mr. Bloodworth. Any further discussion?
Who's going to read the resolution, so it'll be on record? Okay. The resolution has to be read
On
on the alley.
Resolution to close and convey alley. Whereas there exists an old alley running from Railroad Street to Henson Street parallel to Tallahassee Street and is bound on the west by property owned by Chris and Terry Rush and property owned by City of Hazlehurst, and bound on the east by property owned by Joel and Rory Cheney and property owned by James Watson Mahaffey Jr. Whereas no such alley appears on the ground and the city no longer has a use for an alley in such location and no anticipated future need for such alley. Now therefore be it resolved by Mayor and Council of the City of Hazlehurst in regular meeting duly assembled that the aforesaid alley be and it is hereby determined to be of no value to the city, and the city claims no interest in the alley or the property consisting of said alley, and it is further resolved that the mayor and clerk be authorized and directed to execute quitclaim deeds in favor of the respective owners of both sides of said alley who desire to take such ownership, and if an adjoining owner declines such ownership, then to the owners adjoining opposite of said declining owner. Resolved this 17th day of October 2019. It will be signed by R. Bainstone, Mayor, and Bernice Thompson, Clerk.
Entertain a motion that we adopt the resolution.
Make a motion to adopt the resolution.
Mr. Bloodworth made the motion, we adopt the resolution. Is there a second? Second by Mr. Ramey. Any further discussion? Hearing none, all in favor say aye.
Aye.
Gentlemen, we will follow your instructions and we will deed the alley to the adjoining landowners. Okay. There's another one right behind it, the same thing. About 30 years ago, I surveyed that property and showed them there's an alley there, and they still build on it. And now, 30 years later, they're trying to clear it. And our attorney, Mr. Smith, and Mr. Alex Johnson have worked together and got resolutions for clearing this problem, and you've got all those documents in there as well. Does this resolution have to be read too? In fact, what this one has to as well,
Right.
because it's the same thing. And in fact, there's 2 of them here. If you read these 2, there's one from the city to Fuel South to clarify one of them, and there's one from the city to Olin Wooten on the other. All of Olin Wooten, there's alleys that 2 of them have occupied and got buildings on them that we're doing away with. But wait a minute now. Well,
We
anybody
only got
could,
one resolution. One resolution.
no, there's one for both.
Yep, this one resolution does both of them.
Oh, it does, okay,
Yes.
all right. Well, at one time there was 2. We got it both on there?
And apparently does.
Okay, all right.
Resolution.
Well, don't you know, when you turn lawyers loose, you're gonna have a mess?
You can't find it?
Resolution. Whereas the Jacket Stop and Shop property owned by Fuel South Incorporated at the corner of Jefferson and South William Street and the northeasterly adjacent former CTC industrial property now owned by Olin Wooten Trust fronting on Lee Street has Each has been the subject of various plats, at least one of which shows a 10-foot alley, the alley, traversing the said properties from Lee Street to Jefferson Street. And whereas no such alley appears on the ground and the city has no use for an alley in such location. Now therefore be it resolved by the mayor and council of the city of Hazlehurst in regular meeting duly assembled that the aforesaid alley be, and it is hereby determined to be of no value to the city, and the city claims no interest in the alley, and it is further resolved that the mayor and clerk be authorized and directed to execute quitclaim deeds in favor of the respective owners of both sides of the alley, being A, Fuel South Incorporated as to the portion of the alley traversing its lands, and B, Oliver Olin Wooten as administrative trustee of Olin Wooten Trust dated October 2, 2008, as to the portion of the alley traversing his lands. Resolved this 17th day of October 2019, Arbane Stone Mayor, Bernice Thompson Clerk.
You see the cursor right there, folks? You see me wiggling it around? That alley goes from right there, that's Jackie Stop and Shop, goes right through that property. And there are Olin Wooten's building he owns back to the other thing. That alley run right through there, and buildings and gas pumps and everything has been built. That thing's been built over for, I know, about 30 years. And we're just now getting it cleared up. We found out that it clouds the title, and so we relinquished our interest in it to these two property owners. That's what we're doing. Entertain a motion that we approve the resolution, adopt the resolution.
Make a motion.
Mr. Griffin made the motion that we adopt the resolution. Is there a second? Second by Mr. Bloodworth. Any further discussion about the resolution? Instructing the clerk and I to execute it. Hearing none, I call for the vote. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Hearing no opposition, she and I will do what you have instructed us to do. All right. Fire Chief, Chief Wiseman. Move that thing out of your way, partner.
Yes, sir. Thank you.
I will be
Just push
happy
it
Yeah.
to see if you can use that EMT training you got on yourself.
So what I'm talking to you about tonight is notice we've been working on the training center for about 3 years. And we're getting close to being through the burn building. We've finished the bottom floor. We've actually had a class, week before last, a basic class. They've done their burns in our building, so that's the first time we've really been able to do that. We've had to go to Plant Hatch or other places to do burns. So we've done our first class there. We also have a class of folks from the pellet mill, the pellet mills in this area that will be doing some training at the end of this month, 1st of November. So they'll be doing some incipient burning in there, which is very small. We're getting to the point now, we started painting, and we're working on that this week, so hopefully by tomorrow it'll be painted. We got some more work to finish in there, but we've got to the point now we need to put some power in there. I've already talked to Eric from Georgia Power. What we're gonna do is set a pole with a meter base in it towards the back of the burn building, and then we can get our power that we need from there to go into the power will only be needed basically in the tower, because we'll have a smoke generator and it'll be used for that and probably a couple of lights. Power's not gonna be much. We're not gonna spend, won't be much of a power bill per year. We just need to set the pole, purchase the pole, set the pole, and there'll be an additional meter reading for the fire department.
So we'll add another account,
It'll add another
but it'll be a
account.
small account, you're saying.
I anticipate very little money
Yeah.
per year.
Okay, gentlemen, you've heard the chief's request for a service to the fire experiment station, so to speak, training center. And the motion's been made that we approve the man's request by Mr. Bloodworth. Is there a second? Second by Mr. Ramey. Any further discussion? Hearing none, I call for the vote. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Hearing no opposition, your wish is granted, sir.
Yes, sir. I appreciate it.
All right. Okay, we're down to number 9, citizen comments. Be quiet, Ron.
I've got one tonight. I'm burning to ask this question. Go back to item number 1. If I recall from a meeting that I was sitting in on, when Olin Wooten wanted to build the storage facilities, they're on, what is that, Curry Street?
Curry
That's
Street.
3? That went from R3 to C3. from residential to C.
Oh, now where are you talking about now?
Curry Street.
On Curry.
Curry and
Okay.
Fraser.
All right.
Curry and what?
Fraser.
He put storage buildings there, actually on 2 streets.
On Curry and Fraser there, that's where you talking about?
It's Curry and then the other street that goes in
It's
front of
Fraser.
Hazlehurst Mills.
Yeah, okay.
Over there, and then the other street, Curry, goes behind Hazlehurst Mills where the credit union used to be, correct?
Now, what's your question now?
I thought that went from an R3 to a C, or they added C3 so he could do the storage buildings. Is what I remember of that property.
I don't remember.
That was, according to the meeting, which I sat in on too, you are correct. Because that's where, wasn't there signage put up out there?
It went from a what to what now?
It went from a residential to commercial.
Right.
Well, that couldn't have been,
No.
that couldn't have been the case
Light
because that
industrial.
property has been under,
It
had
went
drink.
from light industrial.
Light industrial.
Yeah, that couldn't have been the case. That's been something else for,
It was L1 to
50 years.
C3, I think, or C2, I can't remember.
that couldn't have been right on.
But
In fact, one of those storage buildings, see, is the old,
Used to be the
you
farm.
remember those grain elevators?
elevators.
Grain elevators and all that's in there?
Go
And even,
Kids.
even
Go
before
Kids.
that, Cole, Escal Cole had a commercial business back there, I know in the sixties, going back over 50 years.
But the point is, it was not residential.
No, it was industrial.
That one, and see, that's why they took in, at one time, that whole strip over there. If somebody, if the house became abandoned and on level and had to be torn down, you couldn't put another residential structure there at one time. at
We
all.
shouldn't allow that to happen either.
Like I said,
Because
that's
now
why they,
we've rezoned that to residential through there to help them do something with those old houses. And now that the overpass is going across that railroad track, that's gonna be a through for ambulances, and trucks, and everybody else going through there. And it's residential, and you got children and families living there, and it's got no, it should have never been changed. And I said that, if you check the minutes when it's done, but it's done now, and it's too late.
But Ronnie Harrell put those up there, not those storage, those are Ronnie Harrell's.
One of them green and gold.
Yeah.
Yeah, we should have never rezoned Curry Street to residential. And it needs to be widened, and it needs to be, that street needs to be widened and improved because with the through traffic, everything's not gonna go, when they get blocked by that train, they're not gonna come all the way back into Jefferson, go around. They're gonna go right down Curry Street and hop on and go across, and it's gonna be a busy, dangerous street. But there'll be more work for us to do. Okay, what else, Rhonda?
That's all I got.
All right. Yes, ma'am. But good to have you. By the way, introduce yourself. This is a new citizen to Hazlehurst. How long have you been living here now?
I closed on my house July 15th.
July 15th. Well, welcome to Hazlehurst.
Thank you. My name is June Houston, and I'm a retiree, retired from Georgia State University. This was very interesting tonight. Looking at the zoning and the mobile homes, I think it's good that you're tabling it, because I think everything, when you're dealing with the city and town itself, should be uniform. I mean, because you're trying to get new businesses to come in here, right?
We are.
And so you don't want, when they come in here and see a haphazard mobile homes here, a shack here, or whatever. So I think it's good you're tabling that.
Thank you.
But also, where is the training center for the fire department? Because I'm still learning the lay of the land here.
Right beside the training center, or right beside the fire department on Pat Dixon Road. It's right.
Right over.
Oh, okay. And then Burkett's Ferry, now the airport, is that the airport there on Burkett's Ferry?
Yes.
Because I've passed.
Yeah, if you come across from your house and come out to the main street there and turn right, go out about 2 miles, you'll be at our airport. It's a nice airport. If you want to buy you a plane and store it out there, we'd love for you to do
Oh,
that.
I should.
Yeah.
Now, I haven't seen many planes though.
Well, you haven't looked very hard.
You don't live right under a flat
She lives under the flat pan. Let me share this with you. We appreciate you coming and visiting and asking these questions. We've got have you been to Vidalia since you've been here?
Yes.
Down to Vidalia. You know, it's a little bit bigger town than we are here. Have you been to Douglas, south of us, since you've been here?
That's all I've been doing is driving for different services.
Well, but I want you to quit doing that now. Don't be spending your money out of town. But let me tell you something about our airport here in Hazlehurst. We are a busier airport than either Vidalia or Douglas.
Okay.
So, and we've got some commercial, industrial jet stored out there. We've got some lease that flies in and out of there. So now don't you be shortchanging our airport.
Okay, and then on that 5A, Beasley, you mentioned, you know, you're looking at the lowest bid? You're accepting the lowest bid?
That's already been passed and.
Well, I know, it has been, but I'm just thinking when you say the lowest bid, was that the right, you know, when people put a bid?
Had it not been an acceptable bidder that was capable of getting the bond, so they buy a bond. When in order to be able to bid these jobs, they have to be able to provide a bond as security. And if they're not capable of bonding that they can cover the job, then they'll not be allowed to do it. Now, what has been the problem here with the council a little bit, and I can understand, there's a little bit of confusion about the contractor that we've approved on this job, that they're saying he's changed his work orders and got change orders going back and forth, but it wasn't the contractor. The engineers already admitted the fact that it's their problem that the changes were made. The contractor didn't change anything.
That is a debatable thing that I brought up, and I'm glad that you brought that up. That's the problem I've got is the change orders that are there. It's going to cost our city more money down the line. I was even told by this individual that he'd get to bid whether it was done by Beasley or whether it was done by the city, that he was going to get the bid. So he was already kind of cocky.
I didn't know that.
The engineer ought to foot the bill.
Amen.
There you go.
Amen.
That's the hardest one in the ship.
They get paid for that too.
Yeah.
Well, here's the thing now.
And I ain't gonna change.
You're gonna write your check over there that y'all agreed to write. Here's the thing that you need to do. Listen, I want you to, Ms. Bernice, I want you to carefully get this disc and put it on your desk and don't even file it. Yeah, this contract will be completed within 2 or 3 months. And then I'm gonna take that thing and come back here and play it. And for these gentlemen that's so worried about it's gonna cost so much more, I wanna see how much that's done. I'm gonna let them eat their words. The man will fulfill his contract. All right, that's, anything else?
Change orders, he probably will.
I laid to the left and right of it, you gentlemen. The Jeff Davis Hospital has been awarded a rural hospital stabilization grant. One of the requirements of the grant is to host a community meeting to receive input and ideas on how we can best serve our community. We look forward to receiving feedback from our community leaders and stakeholders. Friday, November 1st, at the Golf Course Civic Center, they will be having a meeting. A catered lunch will be provided. Please attend, please.
Okay, you got this, you got the information in the public. Did the public hear that date real well?
November 1st, on Friday.
All right. Okay, any other citizen comments? Anybody else got any hot things they want to say back there?
And we have RSVP today, right? So you gonna do ours?
Sir?
You gonna let them know
RSVP?
who's going from here?
Yes, sir. If you going?
You there?
All right, let's move along here.
What time did it start?
They said lunch. Now, there's not a time printed on here. To me, lunch is anywhere from 11 to 1.
All right, no other public comments. Let's move it to now the council. Yeah. Okay, council, y'all got anything real hot on your mind and chest you want to get off?
The only thing I want to say to the public that I appreciated what Mr. Purser put in the paper about the light, because of the light is aggressively being put up. But we are planning to do some in-service with our children by crossing the street, because God knows we don't have to have people trained, especially my children, to cross it. So we are working on that. The first one that we had wasn't very good, but we plan to hit it even more, but we've had one already. But, we will be having inserts to teach them the cross, that we know what the turn things are there.
Anybody else? Okay. Mr. Johnson's got a motion for us.
So moved.
I got a second.
Mr. Johnson moved that we adjourn, and has been seconded by Mr. Bloodworth. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed?
No change orders in that motion.
They always been back.
Oh.
Not like we made that.
Yeah.
Yeah.